When the world grows dark and uncertainty presses in on all sides, the individual who possesses a clear, unwavering sense of purpose stands like a lighthouse amid a storm. Purpose is not a casual want, nor is it a fleeting wish born of passing fancy. It is the dominating motive of your life. It is the North Star by which all decisions are guided, all actions measured, and all hardships endured. Without definiteness of purpose, a man drifts. With it, he commands the tides. To understand the power of definiteness of purpose, one must first understand the nature of the mind. The human mind is much like a fertile field. It will return whatever is planted, but it does not discriminate. If you plant confusion, distraction, and doubt, your harvest will be of indecision and failure. But if you plant a singular, burning aim, an exact and defined goal, you will harvest power, drive, and direction. Purpose is the seed. All achievement grows from it. Hard times, challenges, and opposition are not the exceptions on the road to success. They are the rule. The man who wavers when the wind blows is the man who never had a firm destination in his heart to begin with. When the going gets hard, and it will, the only thing that keeps your feet moving is the certainty of where you are headed. Without that certainty, pain becomes a reason to quit. With it, pain becomes the price of admission. Definiteness of purpose gives birth to persistence. It fuels energy even when the body is tired. It breathes belief into a soul that others have long counted out. There are countless men of great talent who never arrive at any meaningful station in life because they are pulled in too many directions, constantly changing course, forever chasing new illusions. They resemble a ship without a rudder, subject to every current and storm. But the man of purpose does not wander. He sets his course once and sails toward it relentlessly. There is something mystical that happens when one becomes definite about what he seeks. The mind begins to attract the people, the circumstances, the opportunities required to move forward. What once seemed impossible begins to bend to your will, not because fate has changed, but because you have changed. You have stepped out of the realm of indecision and into the domain of creation. The world responds to those who know what they want and are willing to pay the price to get it. Do not mistake purpose for wishful thinking. A purpose is not merely to be rich or be successful. These are vague and lack direction. A true purpose is defined, measurable, and deeply personal. It resonates with your spirit and fills your mind with such urgency that you cannot sit still until progress is made. It defines your day, commands your attention, and instructs your subconscious mind on what to seek. It becomes a voice that speaks even in your sleep. To find your purpose, you must ask yourself one great question. What do I desire so greatly that I am willing to suffer for it, work for it, be misunderstood for it, and never give up until I hold it in my hands? That answer is not always immediate. It may require solitude, it may require honesty, but once you find it, once you define it with precision, the battle is already halfway won. For most men never even get that far. They are lost in the fog, chasing shadows. Definiteness of purpose transforms obstacles into stepping stones. A setback to the man of purpose is not a dead end, it is merely a detour. He does not ask if he can achieve his goal, he asks how. He does not question whether he is worthy, he acts in a manner that proves he is. The road may be long, but he measures distance not in miles, but in inches of progress. He understands that each day brings him closer, and he finds strength in the journey, not just the destination. A man with purpose does not waste time. He does not entertain distractions. He is not swayed by the opinions of the idle or the doubts of the faint-hearted. His days are guided by a burning desire that consumes hesitation and compels him to act, even when fear whispers in his ear. Others look at the same mountain and see an obstacle. He sees the summit, already in his mind, already conquered. Because he has seen it within, the world has no choice but to reveal it without. Purpose demands commitment, it demands sacrifice, and it demands faith. There will be moments when progress seems invisible, when every effort appears in vain. But the man of purpose does not require applause or visible signs of success. He has already made up his mind. He has decided that this is the path, and so he walks it. Not because it is easy, not because others understand, but because to turn away would be to deny the very core of who he is. When the fires of adversity rage, the man of purpose does not flee, he steps forward. He uses the flame to temper his will and sharpen his vision. He understands that the road to greatness is not paved with ease, but with tests meant to purify the heart and prove the depth of one's desire. It is in the moments of greatest difficulty that his purpose becomes most alive, most urgent, most undeniable. For that which is born of struggle is never easily forgotten. It is etched into the soul like iron shaped by fire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement, but desire alone cannot manifest anything into reality. Desire is the spark, but it is faith that fans the flame into fire. Faith is the bridge between the world that exists only in your imagination and the world you can touch with your hands. It is the unseen force that transforms thought into form. Without faith, desire remains nothing more than a dream. With faith, that same desire takes on life, moves into action, and compels the world to yield in response. Faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind hope. It is a state of mind so certain in its belief that all doubt is expelled from the heart. It is a conscious decision to believe in the unseen, to hold fast to the invisible blueprint of your goal, even when the physical evidence around you offers no reason to continue. Faith is the ability to see with the eyes of the mind and feel with the heart what has not yet taken shape in the material world. It is the invisible foundation upon which every monument of greatness is built. When the going gets hard, and it will, the strength of your faith determines whether you press forward or fall back. Circumstances will lie to you. The bank account may be empty. The doors may all appear closed. Friends may walk away. The world may call you foolish. But the man of faith walks by a different compass. He is governed not by what is, but by what will be, because he knows that all conditions are temporary, and all results are born first in belief. He understands that the outer world eventually mirrors the inner one, and so he tends carefully to the thoughts he allows to dominate his mind. The subconscious mind responds to repetition, emotion, and conviction, and it is through faith, emotionalized belief, that the subconscious begins to act in harmony with your goals. When you speak words of power, when you visualize your success, when you affirm your worthiness and your ability, you are planting seeds in that fertile soil. Faith is the water that nourishes those seeds. Doubt is the poison that kills them. You must choose which you will allow to grow. There is no great achievement in the history of mankind that was not first believed in by someone who had no visible proof. The airplane was believed in before it flew. The light bulb was believed in before it lit a single room. The skyscraper, the bridge, the cure, the revolution, all were preceded by a mind that had the audacity to believe in its own vision. What made these men different from others was not luck, not talent, not connections. It was faith. A quiet, persistent, unwavering belief that what they imagined was possible and that they themselves were the ones to bring it to life. Faith must be practiced like a muscle. It is not always strong in the beginning, but the more you use it, the more you challenge it, the more it grows, and you strengthen it through action. Every step forward, even when afraid, even when uncertain, adds to your confidence. You learn to trust that something within you is greater than anything against you. You learn that when you act with faith, unseen forces begin to align. You meet people you never expected to meet. Resources show up at the right time. Doors open. Why? Because the mind, when saturated with faith, becomes magnetized. It draws toward it the conditions necessary for its fulfillment. The enemy of faith is fear. Fear paralyzes. Fear convinces you that your desire is too big, that you are too small, that the world is too hard. Faith answers fear with movement. It does not wait for the fear to vanish. It acts in spite of it. It challenges it, overrides it, replaces it. Fear may be natural, but it does not have to be in control. The man who walks in faith may feel fear, but he does not obey it. He acts according to his belief, and in doing so, he dissolves the fear by proving it wrong. Faith is also contagious. Speak with conviction, and those around you begin to believe. Carry yourself with assurance, and others will begin to trust in your vision. People are drawn to those who know where they are going. They want to be near those who believe in something greater than circumstance. Faith becomes your power. It becomes your armor. It becomes the force that cannot be bought, cannot be borrowed, cannot be faked. It must be built from within. You must develop the habit of affirming your purpose and your power. Each morning, look in the mirror and declare your intention. Speak as if the goal is already won. Walk as if you are already the person you are becoming. Faith requires that you live in the reality of your future before it arrives. You must feel it, speak it, act it. You must be so certain that what you desire is on its way that the world has no choice but to believe you, because once you believe it completely, the world will follow your lead. Every man who has ever succeeded has faced resistance, not once, not twice, but continually. Resistance is the fire that tests the quality of your desire. It is the gatekeeper that separates the merely interested from the truly committed. Most men stop when they are tired. The persistent man continues. Most men turn back at the first sign of difficulty. The persistent man steps forward, not because he enjoys struggle, but because he knows struggle is the toll to be paid on the road to success. Persistence is not about brute strength or endless energy. It is about a decision. A firm, definite, unyielding decision that quitting is not an option. When this decision is made, the nature of obstacles changes. What once seemed like a wall now becomes a challenge to climb. What once looked like a failure now becomes a lesson to learn. The mind, when properly directed, begins to see problems not as punishments, but as stepping stones, each one bringing you closer to the realization of your goal. There is a common illusion in the world that great men achieve their success with ease, as if fortune simply smiled upon them and cleared the path. Nothing could be further from the truth. Those who rise to heights others only dream of do so because they refused to stop climbing when others gave up. They persisted when logic said stop. They persisted when every external sign screamed defeat, because within them burned a purpose too strong to surrender. Persistence does not guarantee immediate results. There will be delays. There will be long stretches where progress seems invisible. But persistence does not need visible signs to continue. It is powered by inner commitment, not outer reward. The persistent man understands that success is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it looks like showing up again when nothing happened the day before. Sometimes it is continuing the work in private, far from applause, far from praise, driven only by the vision that lives in his own heart. Every temporary defeat is a question being asked of you: how much do you want this? Most men answer by retreating. The man of persistence answers by redoubling his effort. He studies the setback. He adapts. He tries again. He does not change the goal. He changes the method. He does not surrender to circumstance. He bends circumstance to fit his purpose. He understands that the power of will, consistently applied, can overcome any opposition, outlast any delay, and convert failure into fuel. Resistance is not only external. It comes from within. It is the voice that whispers, "You're not good enough," or "This will never work." It is the inner critic, the doubt that creeps in when results are slow. The persistent man does not argue with the voice. He does not waste energy debating fear. He simply continues. He proves the voice wrong with action, again and again and again. He becomes a man the voice can no longer reach, for he has moved beyond the realm of hesitation into the territory of disciplined resolve. Persistence also builds character. Each time you persist, you grow stronger. Each time you endure, you gain confidence, not because things get easier, but because you become harder to break. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to understand that you are not at the mercy of the world, you are a force within it. A man who persists becomes dangerous to doubt, to limitation, to average thinking. He cannot be discouraged for long because he no longer depends on comfort or approval to keep going. There is a rhythm to persistence. A man must learn to pace himself. He must be relentless, yes, but also intelligent. He must rest without quitting. He must adapt without abandoning the cause. He must treat each day as a brick laid in the foundation of his future. Some days the brick will be large, other days it may be small. But what matters most is that something is laid every single day. The wall may not rise overnight, but it will rise. The world makes room for the persistent. In time, doors begin to open, not because of luck, but because the man who refuses to stop eventually wears down resistance itself. Opportunities appear to the one who kept showing up. People begin to take notice of the one who did not go away. The persistent man begins to attract assistance, resources, and support because others sense that he is going to finish what he started. Persistence has a power that passive interest will never know. There will always be reasons to stop. The economy may turn, support may disappear, mistakes may be made. But the persistent man has already made up his mind. He does not negotiate with discouragement. He does not bargain with disappointment. He knows the price and he is willing to pay it. Not once, not twice, but as many times as it takes. Because what he is after is not a hobby. It is not a whim, it is a mission, and missions are not abandoned just because they become hard. Every adversity, every heartache, every defeat carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is not a poetic thought. It is not a comforting philosophy for the weak. It is a law as real and as dependable as gravity. The man who learns to look into the heart of adversity and search for the seed hidden within is the man who transforms hardship into wisdom and failure into fuel. The masses shrink when adversity appears, believing it to be the enemy, but the wise man greets it as a messenger in disguise. Adversity is the soil in which character grows. No man discovers his true power, his real courage, or his untapped ability when everything is easy. The smooth road teaches nothing. It is the rough path, the steep climb, the long night that reveals the strength buried deep inside. Adversity shakes the soul, breaks the habits of comfort, and forces a man to decide who he truly is. It is the test that separates the dreamer from the doer, the talker from the achiever, the pretender from the possessor. It is a dangerous lie to believe that success is found in ease. The truth is that success is almost always born in the cradle of struggle. What most call misfortune is often the very condition necessary for transformation. A man does not build resilience by winning every battle. He builds it by losing and rising again. He builds it by facing failure, staring it in the face, and refusing to yield. He builds it by taking the blow and using it to strike the spark of greater determination. When adversity strikes, the average man asks, "Why me?" The wise man asks, "What is this here to teach me?" The question determines the outcome. The one who believes he is cursed will find no gift in hardship. The one who believes life is working for him, even when it hurts, will begin to uncover treasures hidden in the rubble. The collapse of a plan may give rise to a better one, The loss of a job may be the catalyst for independence. The betrayal of a friend may lead to self-reliance and higher standards. But these rewards do not come automatically. They are hidden. They must be looked for. They are wrapped in pain and presented in silence. Only those who are willing to dig through discomfort ever find them. Adversity reveals false friends. It separates the genuine from the convenient. It shows you who is really in your corner and who was only there for the easy ride. And though the revelation may sting, it is better to know, better to see clearly, better to walk with fewer who are real than be surrounded by many who are not. Adversity also reveals your own illusions. It shows you what you've been clinging to that no longer serves you. It forces you to reassess, to refocus, to rebuild on a stronger foundation. Some of the most powerful ideas, businesses, philosophies, and movements were born from desperation. History is filled with men who were pushed to the edge, abandoned by hope, and faced with what appeared to be final ruin, only to rise from that place and change the world. Why? Because adversity stripped away the noise. It brought them to their core. It forced a level of clarity, intensity, and hunger that comfort never could. It demanded everything, and they gave everything, and in doing so, they discovered more than they ever thought they had. There is a certain gift that only hardship can give, the gift of self-acknowledge. When everything is stripped away, your plans, your income, your reputation, what remains is you. Not the version you show the world, but the version that endures. If you can learn to appreciate that man, strengthen that man, love that man, then you have found a treasure more valuable than gold. Because from that foundation you can build anything. You can start again. You can rise higher than before. Because now you know the weight you can carry and the fires you can walk through. To fear adversity is to fear your own growth. The man who avoids struggle also avoids transformation. He may remain safe, but he will remain small. There is no greatness in hiding from pain. There is only delay, only stagnation. But the man who embraces adversity, not recklessly but with courage, becomes someone new on the other side. He becomes more disciplined, more focused, more compassionate. He becomes the man capable of leading, of teaching, of building something that lasts, because he has paid the price and in doing so earned the strength no comfort can give. And there is a law in the universe that does not waste experience. Nothing you go through is ever in vain, unless you refuse to learn from it. The pain you feel today may become the story that inspires 1,000 others tomorrow. The hardship you endure now may become the wisdom that spares your future from destruction. You may not see the benefit yet. You may not feel the reward, but if you persist, if you mind the experience, if you ask the right questions and listen with humility, you will uncover the reason. You will find the pattern. You will see how the worst thing that happened to you became the best thing that ever could have happened. The dominating thoughts of your mind are the architects of your destiny. What you hold in your mind with emotion and repetition, your subconscious accepts as truth, whether it be rooted in fact or fantasy. The mind, especially the subconscious, does not reason like the conscious mind. It does not question, it does not analyze. This is where the true power of autosuggestion reveals itself, not as a shallow affirmation or idle wish, but as a precise tool to recondition the mind and direct the course of life with purpose and intention. Everything begins with thought. Every empire, every invention, every book, every act of courage or cowardice was first a thought. A single thought, when held with intensity and fed daily, becomes a belief. That belief becomes action, and repeated action becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. The man who masters his thoughts masters his life, for he controls the root from which all outcomes grow, and autosuggestion is the method by which he implants those roots deeply into the subconscious soil. Autosuggestion is the act of deliberately feeding the mind with the thoughts you choose to dominate your inner world. It is not passive, it is not optional. Whether you know it or not, you are constantly engaged in autosuggestion. Every word you speak about yourself, every silent judgment you make about your ability, every vision you rehearse in your imagination is planting a seed. The only question is whether you are planting weeds or flowers. The wise man becomes intentional with his suggestions. He repeats his goals. He declares his vision aloud. He sees himself already in possession of the thing he desires. He understands that the subconscious cannot resist emotional repetition. It must obey. To properly use autosuggestion, you must go beyond surface repetition. Words without emotion are powerless. You must feel the words as you say them. You must see yourself living the reality they describe. Your affirmations should not be spoken with doubt or hesitation, but with the voice of certainty, even if you are trembling inside. Say them with conviction until conviction takes hold. Visualize the success until your body believes it is already real. Feel the joy, the confidence, the power of your goal as if it were already yours. The subconscious responds to that feeling more than the words themselves. Many men allow their thoughts to be controlled by circumstance. They say they will believe in success once they see success, but this is the reverse of the law. First you believe, then you see. The man who waits to feel confident before he speaks confidently will remain forever silent. The man who waits for results before programming his mind for victory will remain trapped in mediocrity. Faith begins in the unseen. Thought precedes condition. Autosuggestion is the bridge that connects belief to reality by making belief so deeply felt that it transforms your behavior and, by extension, your world. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this power. The mind hungers for direction. If you do not guide it, it will be guided for you. By fear, by past failures, by the opinions of others. But if you feed it deliberately, if you speak to it daily, if you write your goals, repeat your statements, and visualize your outcomes with clarity and emotion, it will reshape itself in the image of your thoughts. You cannot plant corn and expect wheat, and you cannot think defeat and experience victory. Your outer life is a direct reflection of the dominant suggestions accepted by your inner world. The mind does not change overnight. Just as the body requires time and discipline to change its shape, so too does the mind. You must persist with your suggestions. Do not be discouraged if you do not feel them working immediately. A single drop of water does not erode the stone, but thousands will. Daily repetition is the chiseling tool. The persistent thought is more powerful than the fleeting inspiration. It is not brilliance that builds empires. It is focused suggestion, repeated daily, until the vision becomes a command and the command becomes reality. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are a product of conditioning. And you have the power to recondition your mind through the consistent application of thought. If you tell yourself you are capable, strong, resourceful, and destined for greatness, and you do this daily with emotion and belief, then eventually your actions, habits, and results must follow that pattern. You are what you think about most. And what you think about most is determined by what you feed your mind on purpose. Autosuggestion is the act of self-leadership. It is the moment you stop waiting to be told who you are and begin declaring who you choose to become. It is how you take command of your mental dialogue and strip away the years of doubt, fear, and limitation handed to you by others. You replace them, thought by thought, word by word, until the new identity takes hold. It may feel unnatural at first, even dishonest, but understand this: your current beliefs were also learned. They were not born with you. If they were learned, they can be unlearned and replaced with better ones. What you affirm consistently, with purpose and belief, you become. This is the power that builds kings from common men. This is the tool that every great thinker, every inventor, every leader has used, whether they knew the word autosuggestion or not. They fed the vision, they spoke it, they lived in it mentally before the world ever saw it physically. The world eventually bowed to their vision, not because of chance, but because their subconscious mind had already accepted the vision as fact. Let me know if you'd like a full script combining all 5 keynotes next, or if you have a specific direction in mind for using them. When the going gets hard, that is the signal not to retreat but to rise. Adversity is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally in disguise. It sharpens your vision, strengthens your will, and refines your purpose. The man who persists, who sees resistance not as a wall but as a challenge, who greets defeat with the firm resolve to find the seed of benefit hidden within, it is he who cannot be stopped. He does not wait for the world to give him permission. He commands his destiny with thought, fortified by belief and directed through action. He understands that the mind is the workshop of all achievement, and that the thoughts you plant through repetition and feeling will become the life you live. So when your back is against the wall, remember, your mind holds the key. Your persistence fuels the fire. Your faith lights the path. Everything you need is already within you, waiting not for ease but for a decision. Decide to rise. Decide to continue. Decide to master the only thing that ever truly mattered, yourself. The world yields not to the man who merely wishes, but to the man who wills it so. Let that be you. Let this be your turning point.